Hey, welcome back to the show. How are you doing with your clouds? The last video was kind of a cool one because we actually did more of a time-lapse kind of fun thing. It took me about a half an hour to do those clouds. Lots of color, but it's a lot of the same techniques that I'm teaching you throughout the whole painting process of clouds. So we're going to continue, keep going on here. Again, the paint that you're using is acrylic paint, and we're going to be using a 16 by 20 canvas here. Feel free to, again, to use whatever you'd like size canvas. And then I did gesso over this here just to cover up some of like the old paintings that I was doing before. It's a good, inexpensive way just to keep it going, all right? So again, we're just practicing, so you don't have to keep buying so many canvas. I just kind of recycle this and add so many paintings on top of this just to get that practice feel. So I want you to grab a large, a medium-sized brush, and a small brush. We're going to start doing some perspective, all right? We're going to push these clouds a little bit further out. It's going to look a little bit distant, and then it's going to expand up, and you're going to see what I mean. Just follow along with me. Take your time. Feel free to rewind at any point, and you can start this over anytime you'd like. So that's the beauty about technology nowadays. But what I want you to do with your large size brush, there's going to be 4 different colors that we're going to use, all right? Plain blue, white, plain old red, and yellow. All right, so those, again, besides white, are your primary colors. But we're going to use a little bit more white within these colors. We're going to start maybe a little bit more pastel kind of a feel. All right, so with your larger size brush, we're going to do that same blue sky background, but we're going to make it a lighter blue. So I'm going to take my large size brush. This is 3-inch brush. It's pretty big. You can do definitely a smaller one, but I've got a pretty big canvas here, so I want to cover it pretty quickly. So I'm going to add a little tiny bit of blue on my brush here in the corner, and just on the side of the white pile, I'm going to mix in some of this blue, creating kind of a nice fresh powdery blue. Now I still want to leave a lot of my plain white available just for later on because we're going to be mixing some colors in there. Again, just kind of mix it. Everybody's light blue is going to be a little bit different, so whatever you got. All right, and what I'm going to do now is start just covering this canvas. Now you can do the back and forth technique on this one. You can do up and down. I like to maybe do these like little X patterns here. And feel free to paint your edges if you'd like on your painting. I leave that entirely up to you. All right, so I'm just adding this nice powdery light blue. It's real pretty, real bright. It's kind of like our mid color right there. All right, so you can see the paint is finally coming off my brush. I got just a little bit left. And again, I'm taking it as far as I can go without putting any more on. That means that's helping that paint start to dry off real quick. Acrylic paint is such a user-friendly paint that we can just do that. And we can add all these different layers on here real quick. And it takes some getting used to, but that's what practicing's for. We're gonna get this down. All right, so now that I've got that, I've got no more paint left here. I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit more on my brush and a little bit more white. Okay, now you can see this is a little bit more of a brighter blue. All right, it's really, really bright. I'm kind of going in a diagonal motion here as far as like your darker into your lighter. It's going to be headed down this way, your lighter. Again, it's that kind of gradient effect, but we're not doing from top to bottom. We're going to kind of go from corner to corner. And then I'm running out here. I'm going to add some more. And then check this out. I'm just going to cover this up pretty quick. Now you don't want to spend too much time on this. This is just your base layer, your background stuff. The focus really is going to be on your clouds, especially in this painting here. You're going to see so much color. It's just real pretty stuff. But again, you don't need much of perfection or anything like that. Once you start getting the hang of your brushes, your paints, your colors, all that stuff, you'll get a feel for it. It just takes time and practice. You guys are doing good. I've seen some of your paintings out there. It's pretty awesome what you guys are coming up with. Boom. So kind of a nice gradient effect. There is some streakiness. There's some kind of imperfections. Perfect. I love that. So what we're going to do is take that brush, dunk it in your water cup when you're done. And I want you to grab maybe a medium-sized brush to a medium-small-sized brush. Now, with acrylic paint, it dries so fast, all right? So we can actually use plain white as a primer. Now the primer, you can get a primer, or I just use plain white acrylic paint just because it dries fast. This is a great step because it's going to show you how we can make those white clouds over this, and how we add that primer effect is to boost color, all right? Boost it over this blue, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take your medium to small size brush and put just a little bit of plain white on there. And we're going to start on the bottom part right here. We're going to kind of go a little bit side to side, okay, kind of back and forth, just barely touching that canvas. All right, separating some of the blue. You still want to see some of that, but you're starting to see just these little side to side clouds, just breaking up. You can add these little bumps, you can add little hiccups, just along the bottom here. Okay, very random, again, not really symmetrical. You want imperfections, you want some small clouds, you want some larger clouds in there, but you can see them. You can start to see they're appearing there. All right, now once you've got that, remember, you don't need to use a lot of paint. I'm gonna put a little bit more in there, and I'm just going to actually start to break it up even more, but I'm gonna curve some of these clouds. All right, some of these nice little clouds here are gonna be curving. Now what this is gonna start doing is giving you the illusion that these clouds are gonna be coming at you a little bit. All right, they're curving up a little bit, just ever so slightly, but not flat. They're a little bit curved and arched right there. And I'm gonna put a little bit more white, and I'm gonna bring some over here on this side. So check that out. Again, just a little bit of white paint, not much is needed, just enough to add this nice little layer so we can add some color on here. Okay, boom. It's looking good, looking good. And you can see we're doing this real quickly. All right, once you get the hang of it, it goes a little bit faster. Now what I'm gonna do is really add some curves here. I'm gonna add it right in this top corner. I'm gonna take my brush here and boom, look at that. I'm gonna make a little bit larger, a little bit thicker cloud, kind of coming in here and just giving you a total different vibe, total different perspective here. Just by adding that little bit thicker over here in this corner, and then it kind of thins out into a point. That gives that illusion that your clouds are kind of coming towards you, or a little bit bigger. Okay, I'm gonna bring some little white down here, and that curving motion helps add that effect. Okay, I'm gonna bring little clouds, just kind of breaking up the sky here. And you can see it's really cool because you can just keep it white like this. You can keep your clouds like this, or again, like we're gonna do on this painting here, we're gonna add some color onto these clouds, but this white paint is so good because it just dries so quickly, acrylic paint, that we can just layer right on top of it. All right, and you can see if I put a little bit more in my brush, it's already starting to dry, so the second layer, you can see, just really brightens it up quite a bit even more. Now you're starting to kind of see the trends that we're using in some of these paintings here. And again, I'm taking some of that leftover paint on my brush. You know what, I'm gonna make a couple little random clouds up here just to add some fun. And you know, we want to take away some of that huge blue sky parts right there. You can see, just breaking it up. All right, but doing that curved motion, that really adds that cool kind of effect. A little bit of dimension. It's not those typical cartoony clouds that you kind of see up in the air. All right, boom. These are actually kind of like winds taking them. Okay, I'm gonna add a couple more, maybe just fluff it up a little bit, whatever's left on my brush. Gonna kind of fluff up some of these clouds here. You can see very lightly touching the canvas, just barely. And it just works, okay? You start going in different directions, just kind of feel for it. And these are kind of almost connecting, but look at, there's barely any paint left on my brush here, and it's just, I'm just using some of the leftovers. Just using it, just breaking this up still. And it's adding these like really neat highlights, and it's kind of fluffing up these clouds. All right. And by doing this too, that actually helps this paint dry off even faster. All right, just by doing that. All right, look at that. Okay, so look at that, pretty sweet. You can see there's an obvious difference. You've got that really light touch to it, really pretty effect. I'm gonna keep the same brush handy because we're gonna use this white. It's okay if there's some color a little bit left on it from your other paints, but don't worry, we're gonna add some really pretty colors and effects going on here. And this is already starting to dry off. Everything is starting to dry, and that's what we want, so we can add some really like pretty colors right on top of here. In fact, let's go ahead and kind of do that right now while we're set. We're gonna go ahead and add maybe like, let's do like a light purple or so. All right, let's do a light purple. So I'm gonna take a little bit of red on that same brush I was using with the white. I'm just gonna put a little bit into that blue and then mix a little bit of white in there. Okay. And then the white, what that does is that softens the paint. Okay, it makes it kind of look like a little bit highlighted there. All right, you can see it just softens that up. It's like a nice purpley color. And look at this. I'm gonna add some of this really pretty light purple right over some of those areas of that white I was just doing. And just a little bit of paint, not too much on your brush. You're gonna see this beautiful color just start to come out. Again, it was just a little bit of red mixed into some of that light blue, and then I added some of that white in there just to soften it up. Again, we're really trying to go for that kind of pastel look, and white will help do that. It kind of softens all the colors. It's not as bright, so you can see, check that out. You can hear your brush starting to dry off a little bit. I'm gonna take some of this up here. It's fun. Just adding some of these colors right on top of some of that. There you go. Let's add some more right here. Makes those clouds look a little bit different for sure. Again, look at, I'm taking so much paint. I've not even put any more on my brush. I'm still working at it, still going at it. Same brush, same paint when I mixed it. In fact, I even wiped off a little bit on my palette too, just to kind of get some of it off. But boy, oh boy, this is a really pretty color. And just going with the flow of those whites that we laid down. Okay. And about halfway down here, I'm just gonna kind of start kind of tapering off some of this. You can see, got a little bit. I still haven't put any more paint on my brush. You can see I'm just taking whatever is left on here and just going with the flow. All right. Boom. That's pretty. All right. That's looking good. I like it. I like it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set this brush down here. I'm going to make a new color and just see how that color comes out. So I'm going to go ahead and set that one down. I'm going to go ahead and grab another medium-sized brush. And I'm going to make this kind of cool, maybe lightish orange kind of feel. So all I'm going to do is take a little bit of red, take it right here into this play area right here. I'm going to bring a little bit of yellow too. And that's going to create your orange. Okay, just a little bit of red. You don't need too much red. And then I'm going to scoop up some of this plain white I have available, and on the side of that, I'm going to mix in some white into that kind of yellow there. A little bit of an orange feel to it. Okay, it's got that nice color. And again, I'm going to bring some of this light orange. It's like a pastel orange. Okay, so a little bit of red. into some of your yellow, and that'll make that orange. And again, to soften it up, what do you use? White. There you go. Okay. Now these don't have to be perfectly going right over each and every detail. You can still separate some of that. But again, just a really pretty color, just to change it up. See, it's got a little bit of dimension now to it. It's got these really pretty colors starting to happen here. And then I can add some color, some of this orange coming, streaking into some of that purple. Look at that. Wow. And that's what it is. It's all about kind of just practicing, experimenting with these colors, just seeing what kind of works, seeing what you kind of like gravitate to. All right, and again, if you want some like even brighter stuff, you can add a little bit more yellow onto your brush here, and you can just add these really little brighting up little areas here of some of that color. If you don't want it too soft, I want to add some of that fun color on there. Look at those pastels. Just fun. Lots of color. There you go. So you can see I've got a little bit more of my yellow down here below. Maybe the sun's hitting it a little bit different on these clouds here. And then all of a sudden it's got just a little bit coming up here into your areas here, but mostly pink and stuff up there. So take a look, try it out. Again, we're not using a ton of paint. We're, learning colors, we're learning techniques, we're learning like the separation of sky and clouds. So keep practicing. It's gonna be time. That's all it is, time. We're gonna figure this out together. We're gonna practice, we're gonna make mistakes. But again, have fun, enjoy this. This is designed to where you can mess up. I want you to make mistakes. I'm gonna make mistakes. Don't worry, there are lots of artists out there and there's a lot of new people that just wanna try this kind of stuff, all right? Keep going, keep having at it, all right? Just, don't buy the super expensive paints. You don't need any of that right now. Recycle your canvas, keep using it, all right? Put some gesso, or even if you don't have gesso, just get some white acrylic paint and just paint right over it when you're done too. Now, if you're really sentimental, I want to keep this, keep it, go get more canvas. Don't worry, I don't make the rules for you, but I want you to enjoy what you're doing. I want you, these are so designed so I can teach you just the basics. And again, eventually, once we learn all these different basics, all these different colors, we're gonna start delving in. We're gonna get to that point where you're gonna make really advanced paintings here, but you've got it down. You've got the skill set down. You can make this happen. I totally believe that anyone can paint. And thanks for tuning in. I really am excited to paint with you guys here again. Send me all your pictures if you want to our Facebook, Brushing Up with Shaun. And please feel free, tell your friends, subscribe. This is like such a fun forum. We've had people like sharing ideas and things like that. I also just posted our second raffle quiz where we had the Val Kilmer question. So you guys had some fun with that, but keep on going, keep painting, keep practicing, and I'll see you at the next episode. All right, take care, guys.